Mm, Okay. Do we want to start then?
Yep. You ready
Okay.
to go, Morgan?
Yeah, I'll go. And I'm gonna stand. I tried to clear space, so we'll see how this goes. That work? Yeah, that's fine. All right. Nobody gets me quite like my sister. With one look on my face, she can know exactly what I'm thinking. If you have a sibling, you can probably relate to this. The bond that you have between a sibling is unlike any other bond. This leads me to question what makes somebody a hero? Does it have to be somebody that has done amazing things for a long time, or can it just be somebody that you know that you genuinely look up to? Is it because of somebody's bravery, somebody's strength, their courage to do hard things? For me, my sister is my hero, and she's the best person that I know. My sister Madison is 4 years older than me. When she was in high school, she had a bit of a tough time. She battled depression and anxiety and had to take some time off of school to deal with that. It even caused her to have to graduate a little bit early. Even though she was going through so many things, I had no idea at the time. She still hung out with me, even though I was just her little kid sister. She made time for me doing things that she knew I would like to do. For example, I remember her driving me to McDonald's to get ice cream. Little things like that made me feel so appreciated when all I wanted was to be like my sister. My sister is also the kindest person that I know. She can talk to anybody. It doesn't matter if she's known them for 10 minutes, she'll talk to them like she's known them for 10 years. In her words, I'm a local everywhere I go. There is no better way to describe my sister than that. She can make friends anywhere. And she also has a way of making everybody feel safe around her. You can tell her your deepest, darkest secrets and be comfortable that she's going to keep them. So I think a hero can be anyone, even if it's just my big sister. And the bond that we have, I know will last forever. And she's my best friend. All right. Do we want to do questions?
Uh,
Yeah, we
yeah, probably. When did you first start like looking up to your sister as like a hero?
Um, like forever. So she's 4 years older than me. And so like I remember her playing basketball when she was in like third grade and I was in kindergarten. And I remember just wanting to play with her. And that's actually, I broke my arm playing basketball with her because I don't know, a kindergartner doesn't have a good chance against a third grader.
so
How does it? Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Okay, I was just wondering, like, how would you explain to someone who doesn't have an older sister? Because I'm the oldest, so I don't really have an older sister. So how would you like explain that bond in like one word?
Oh, one word is hard. Um, I don't know. I guess when you're the youngest, you just want to be like your older sibling, or at least I did, especially because we're both girls. I don't know if it's different if like you have a younger brother or something, but for me, it's just, I guess, admiration. Okay, somebody else can go. I think that's good.
I guess I can go since no one else is saying anything. Uh, okay. Heroes come in many forms because everyone has a different idea of what a hero is. In my case, heroes can be YouTubers. Now, I know a lot of people think that YouTuber is an invalidated example of a hero or job, but hear me out. Markiplier or Mark Fishbach. He's my hero because even though I'm in a parasocial relationship with him, he's inspired me a lot and taught me a lot of things throughout the years. Just for some background information, Markiplier is a YouTuber, gamer, and I have a long history of watching his videos. I've been watching him for like about 11 years now. That was back when he was posting Amnesia videos, which is a horror game that came out a long time ago. And he didn't have a face cam and he had a small following. That was back when I was in elementary school and had a lack of friends. Um, at the time, Markiplier gave me something to be happy about. When I first found him, he helped me find my interest in horror games and video games, which now play a big part of my life. Um, Markiplier is my hero because he's genuine in himself and his work. I've watched his project development for years now. For example, he's gone from skits to movies, and he's gone from a small following to like 36 million subscribers. And seeing him reach his goals and doing what he's passionate about inspires me to kind of do the same. Um, Another thing, Markiplier hasn't fundamentally changed as a person since his rise in fame. He's still the same kid he was 11 years ago who played random horror games. He's still himself. He often tells his audience to be themselves too. Uh, Markiplier is a hero to many. He makes a point to give to charity as much as he can, and he has like certain events that he does just to raise money for those charities. And lastly, Markiplier actively and truthfully speaks out about his own experiences. He speaks out about mental health, which has been fundamentally important to me due to my struggles with my mental health, and I know there are a lot of people who feel the same way. So even though Markiplier is just a YouTuber, he's my hero because he's always been there for me when others couldn't be, and I owe him a lot just because he was willing to be himself. Any questions?
How did you find him when you were so young?
That is such a great question. I think I was just looking on YouTube because this was back when like the internet was still kind of new, had unsupervised internet access. So I just was scrolling on YouTube and I saw this I saw him pop up one day and I was like, okay. So that's how I found him.
Is there any other YouTuber that you watch that you admire as much as this one?
Um, there's a few, but I think he's the main one. Like I also watch Jacksepticeye and I has Cupquake. Those were some of my role models back then, but Markiplier is my main one.
So what does he play now, or is he still doing video
He
game related stuff? I'm
um
old, so I don't know that stuff.
Yeah, so he's mostly does games, but he does all different sorts of like genres, like horror or like mystery or story or adventure action. He also does other things, like he's done skits, and he's done like little series on YouTube. He does like which are just basically like shows, but they're on YouTube. He has branched out a lot since then because of his following and his money. So
Nice.
okay, someone else can go now.
I can, oh,
Go ahead.
okay. Mine is gonna be about it's gonna be a rant speech. So I'll give a little background before I do this. I actually live on a reservation, so this is kind of like this speech is kind of from experience, not experience, but like what I've seen and dealt with living on a reservation. So today I'm going to discuss and talk about a matter of great importance that slips through the cracks of our collective consciousness, the issue of missing people and the role of the media in shaping our viewpoint. It's a topic that, while it is naturally dark, we need to pay more attention to it and be more aware. Our world is flooded with news about missing persons, each story told with a sense of urgency and often accompanied by dramatic music and sensational headlines. It is true that these stories tug at our heartstrings, leaving us with a sense of unease and vulnerability. However, in our pursuit of empathy, we must not lose sight of the larger narrative at play. The media, with its intimidating power to shape the public opinion, sometimes unintentionally diverts our attention from the underlying issues that contribute to people going missing in the first place. We find ourselves confined in the gripping details of the cases, caught in the web of speculation and surveillance, neglecting the full context that requires our collective focus. The narrative spun by the media often turns these cases into something when they're something other than they are meant to be. The person's identity becomes secondary to the actual mystery. Families are left in the shadows, coping with uncertainty, while we as a society move on to the next headline, such as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, or just anything with dealing with celebrities. We need to redirect our focus from the gaze of the sensational to the systemic. Rather than fixating solely on the spectacle of missing person story, we need to keep our attention at the root causes. Mental health struggles, homelessness, domestic violence, these are the real villains that lurk in the background of these stories that capture our headlines. Furthermore, the media's obsession with boasting can slow down the investigation, and it can be harmful to the stereotypes along with the investigation. The media's obsession and like the power has to redirect our focus often causes everyone to overlook all the issues and not really focus too much on everything, the missing people, the missing kids, everything. It's just is so we need to navigate the sea of information and emotions surrounding missing persons and just focus on that instead of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift or a new like celebrity headline, and focus on the root causes so we can bring more attention and awareness to these things that are happening on like reservations more so than out in like public. That's all.
So I'm getting here like your focus is on like media coverage, kind of.
Yeah, the way media redirects it's everyone's focus from something like real and important to like a Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, who's been in the headlines for weeks on end right now, instead of every like missing person, because statistics right now say that there's at least one Indigenous person and one Indigenous kid being taken every day or going missing every day.
I know my sister used to live in Sioux Falls, and every time I went there, they had like big protests about this, about like people not covering it. Do you find that that's
Mhm.
an issue where you live too?
Um, yeah, kind of. So a couple weeks ago, there was like four kids that had went missing in my town, Eagle Butte. And then I don't know if you guys have like seen stories or anything, but in Deadwood, there was actually a girl who was from here that was found that went missing, that was found passed away outside of her cabin and stuff, but that wasn't in the headlines. It was just like in there for maybe a day or two, and then it got taken off, and then it went back into this was when Dead Weird was happening, so then it went back into Dead Weird and all the activities along with that, and just other things that have been going on in like Rapid City. So I just would like that's what I was getting at. Yeah, it's media like needs to focus more on this like these issues, real life issues, instead of like celebrities and their relationships and what they have going on in their lives. Okay, someone else can go.
I can go. All right. So I'm jumping in my car, heading off on the road to college, 8 hours away, a daunting task for a 17-year-old farm boy. So you ask yourself, how does this correlate into a hero? Well, my grandmother, Lila Delarme, is my hero. She's my grandmother on my mom's side. She was a huge part in actually helping me and driving me to actually go to college. Some of the backstory with my grandmother and kind of gives reason to why she is such a hero to me. She's always put the family first, her kids, us as grandkids, always wanting the best for us. She sacrificed bettering her own life, giving up college, giving up betterment to stay at home with my aunts and uncle and my mom to while my grandpa went and fought in the war and didn't push herself further on that. She stayed at home and was a stay-at-home mom, took care of kids with very little income, and a really tough life. Flashing forward to my life, my childhood, we actually lived right next door to my grandmother. This came about because, unfortunately, my father had lost the property that we had growing up. So my grandmother, with open arms and what I picture as a hero, um, let us move on to her property, pretty much into her house, and she built a different house on the land, and we lived there my entire childhood. Actually, my mother still lives on the land. Pretty much a nice piece to not having the stresses of the world, the finances, all of that piece. She also was the one that taught me how to mow the lawn. She taught me how to chainsaw, funny enough, to do all of the hard work, stay driven, help with homework, feeding the family. We had religiously Sunday dinners. We also had a night of the week that was for us, my siblings and I. Each of us kind of had a night to where we got to spend with grandpa and grandma at that one-on-one time because there was 4 kids, my mom and my dad. So that also is a hero piece to me is she's took that time to really have a one-on-one piece with us and get to know us and know about our days, know what was going on. Because unfortunately, my mom and dad were working all the time. So she was always the person that was there for us. So from there, she was the only one that looking back and wanted to go to college. I was the first actual kid in the family that went to college and pursued that and had the drive and the initiative to do it. But without my grandmother's help and reinforcement, and at times bailing me out of hey, I can't eat, grandma, I don't have money. Helping pay for those kind of things was what helped drive me to be successful and be a better man. Um, and always to look back and say, there's so much more family and that she sacrificed for that I want to make sure that I do better and do more for. A reason that I'm still going to school and came back to school is that kind of piece is I still want to live out that drive for the hero that was my grandmother and is my grandmother. Um, she has helped to sculpt me into the man I am today, as I said. My shining example of an undying love and sacrifice for my family. She's still alive, over 80 years old, still cooking for the holidays, being there for her family with anything she can provide, just being there to listen to our lives, that loving hug, a heart bigger than most, just a great person and a representation of a hero to me and a hero to all the family, I believe. That's it.
I guess I would ask like what lessons are you trying to pass on any lessons she kind of taught you onto your own kids, like kind of the way she conducted herself and just the way she kind of taught you everything you know, basically, like you trying to push on those lessons to your own kids?
Oh, yes. Great question. Actually, both my kids help mowing already and learning those kind of things, the value of hard work and determination and seeing the end result is a big piece that I always tell them, because that was something that was big with my grandmother, is seeing what the end result was, um, whether it was mowing the lawn or trimming trees or whatever the case may be. It was the value in from start to finish, what you got out of it and how much it taught you.
My question is, did you have any other hero or any other person you consider a hero growing up other than your grandma?
Um, Gosh, I'm sure I had countless, probably. I mean, even my grandfather um, was serving in the military, and always providing for and giving back to the family as well. He didn't do it as directly as my grandmother. He was, the financial side, but he was always looking to. He was a huge person on growth. Like, he had properties all over. He was a hoarder at times, but he held on to his money. He was very thrifty with what he did and chose to do, and left a good nest egg, I'll say, for my grandmother and for the family, because he was the guy that went for the 15 cent item back in that day versus spending a lot of money. So he was very smart with his choices financially. So I'd say he's another one, probably a lot through the years. So. Well, you, Jackson.
Yep, I guess I'm the last one here, so I'll go ahead and go. I was gonna do a rant speech, but I decided to change it to a hero speech. I'll go ahead and stand up for this. All right. So, what is a hero to you? So, a hero to me is just someone that you idolize because of their characteristics, or idolize them, look up to them because of the way they conducted themselves, the way they treated other people. So, for me, that hero for me was my grandfather. He just affected me in more ways than I probably know. The lessons he taught me as a kid, I mean, I probably couldn't remember them. He just instilled in me the things that I know to be good today, the things I know, just the way you should treat others, the way you should treat your family. He was just. Sorry, I cut out there for a second, but I'll just continue. So anyway, so the lessons that he taught me. So I remember being a kid, and just I went over to their house. They lived in Butte, Montana at the time, and we were out doing yard work, and I didn't want to do it. I think we were raking leaves, and I mean, it just was terrible. I was kind of on vacation at the time, but I think through that he taught me just there's pride in doing work, and there's pride in doing things to help out your family and to provide for your family. And I think that just as like a man who's one day hopes to have a family of his own, it was just huge for me to know that this is how you should conduct yourself, and this is how you should treat others. And just he was always just the kindest person I've ever met. I mean, he was always willing, no matter what, no matter his mood, no matter if he was like having a good day or a bad day, he always was just willing to hang out, talk to the grandkids. And I mean, he was just a great model of how to be just like a kind and gentle person. And I remember him, unfortunately, like 4.5 years ago, he died of prostate cancer. But I remember even like on his deathbed, I mean, he said he wasn't scared. I mean, he knew that he lived his life in a way where he was happy with how his life went. He knew that he left his family in good hands and in good shape. And I mean, just like that was just that's just like who I want to be too. I mean, just everything he was is who I want to be, and I think that's just what a hero is to me. Just someone that you want to model your life after. And when I think of the person that I want to model my life after the most, I always think of him. So, yeah, that's my speech. Thank you. You can questions now.
Was there anybody else that you were kind of trying to think of who could be your hero? Because I know for me, like I didn't really know who to do. I mean, my sister is my hero, but I could have done like any of my family, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, when you talked about your sister, it made me think about my brother because I also have an older brother, and I mean, you don't really realize it, but you do model yourself a lot like your older siblings, and I feel like I definitely do with my brother too. I mean, he like everything that he did, I wanted to do because he was just my older brother. I feel like you just do that naturally with older siblings, and he's just such a great guy. I mean, me and him are just close friends now, and yeah, I definitely say he's my hero. But I probably, like Aaron said, I probably have countless I could think of that I could consider to be my hero.
So, do you have any traits or characteristics or like that top thing that you think of when you think of your grandfather that you either if you do or you just strikes a chord with you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like I said, he always just treated everyone with respect, and he never like I mean he probably was sometimes he was in like not having a great day, but he always like was will like when every time he walked through the door, he always just like brought that light with him. Like he sorry, cut out again. He was always just trying to like bring that light with him wherever he went, and just always trying to be, the a kind of guy who you could come with for your problems and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm not know if I'm there yet, but that's just who I'm trying to be like. So I feel like I'm just looking at how he treated others, and I'm just trying to model that the best I can. But so yeah.
Gonna end recording, Morgan.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Oh, okay. Sorry.